Well, hi there. It's Wedding Tips for Wow Factor Wednesday. You know, Wednesdays actually used to be my least favorite day of the week, but not anymore because we get to spend some time together. I'm Steve Moody, and I would love to help you have an amazing wedding, the kind of wedding that your family members and friends are going to talk about for years to come. I've been in the wedding industry since 1989 and have helped create amazing and memorable weddings for over 2,500 couples. So you take that experience and combine it with a few extra tips from some of my local favorite wedding pros, and even some of our previous brides and grooms too. You take all that, mix it together, and it's the perfect recipe for bringing that extra wow factor on your wedding day. Now, we've got a lot to talk about, so let's jump right in. Well, it can't be avoided. Eventually, you knew that we were going to spend some time talking about the effects of the coronavirus on the wedding industry and COVID-19. And rather than be negative, as a lot of the posts on social media are right now, let's talk positive today about some things that can be done in order to keep people safe once things begin to reopen and we start having wedding receptions again. Because, you know, it's not like it's just magically all going to disappear on us. There's still a chance for infection and people getting sick. So what can we do on our end once we start reopening venues? What can a bride and groom do? What can their DJ do? What can the staff do? This is a big question. Now, today, I've got some great tips and helpful hints for you. A friend of mine, DJ colleague in the DJ industry, spoke with their family physician, who also happened to be an epidemiologist in his younger days, as well as a representative from the State Department of Health. Now, he talked to him and said, listen, you know, I'm a DJ. Eventually, I've got to get back out into the wedding industry again. We're going to have some weddings. What can people do to stay safe? And so some of these things are his thoughts combined with the DJ's thoughts and also combined with some of mine as well. Some measures that will keep your guests and your family members and friends and you, as well as all the staff working that day, safe on your wedding day. So here's a few things we can do. The first thing is kind of self-explanatory, and that is, in advance, you should reach out to all of your guests and please let them know that, hey, I understand that there is this pandemic that has been going on, and I just want all of my guests to know that I do forgive any absences on our wedding day, and I understand that this is not a personal decision and you would be there if you could. We would love as many for you to be there as can be. So you don't want to wait till the last minute on that. Reach out to folks in advance. Let them know in the weeks and months leading up to the wedding, because some people do feel obligated to attend once they receive that invitation from you. So make sure that they know that they are certainly not obligated. Now, along with this, the family physician that I was telling you about, who was a former representative of the health department, also recommended that greeters could be set up at the entranceway to the venue using non-contact infrared thermometers to test guests as they arrive, just to make sure they don't have a fever, or likewise inform the bride that she could ask all guests to voluntarily, just before they come, check and make sure they don't have a temperature before arriving at your wedding. I mean, this is totally an honor system, but nobody wants to give it to anybody else, and certainly nobody wants to get it. All right, so let's move on to the next part. Now, this is about for folks that could not be there in person. And we all have weddings that we've been to where, you know, a favorite uncle can't be there, a favorite aunt can't be there. And this is very similar to that, only there might be a different reason for why they can't be there, and it's because of the virus. So many times people are using FaceTime and they're live casting portions of the day for those family members that cannot be there. So maybe assign a family member to do that on their own Facebook profile or on yours that you create for your wedding day, so that you can live stream portions of your wedding day to the guests that can't be there. You don't want anybody to come and risk getting sick, especially if you have the older guest. Facebook Live usually works really great for this, as long as the device that is casting the stream is not too close to the speakers where music is coming out, because if it hears the speakers, the folks at Facebook actually shut down the stream due to copyright enforcement, all right? But you want people here to be able to hear your toasts clearly, and you want people to hear any blessings or any of the speeches that are being said, all your words from family and friends. You want those to be heard. So that's a very easy way to do it. But again, you don't want music coming through the system clearly, because if the Facebook censors pick it up, they'll cut it off. All right. Now, regarding the meal, if your dinner is going to be a buffet style, which many folks choose to do, remember that you don't want everybody going through that buffet line touching the same utensils. So if you are the bride or the groom, you might want to talk to the catering company or the venue manager about possibly having an employee man the buffet stations and physically serve each guest as they come through the buffet, rather than each guest putting their own hands on those utensils. It'd just be much safer for everybody involved. It'd practically eliminate any hand-to-hand transmission. So the main thing to remember with your meal, when serving the cake or dessert, you don't need everybody's hands on everything touching it all, right? Same thing goes with your drinks. So instead of having reusable crystal or glass stemware, maybe invest in some plastic disposable champagne flutes or plastic wine glasses. Tell the bartender that there is just one serving per glass policy, and they just toss it in the trash can so that they don't keep going back and forth with everybody's hands on those glasses. Once a guest has finished their glass, they just throw it away, all right? And then on that return trip to the bar, the bartender gives them a brand new plastic disposable glass. This will greatly reduce the chances of the mouth of the bottle of wine or champagne coming into contact with the lip of a guest's glass during the pouring, which could possibly contaminate that actual glass or the bottle that it came from. Now, as somebody that has been to 2,500 and some weddings and watching, I think that this is going to be one of the most tricky things, and that is seating for both the ceremony and the reception, because we have to keep in mind, in order to comply with all these restrictions that are in place, most of the venues are going to have to take 15 to 20% fewer chairs than what they typically do in that same area. You're not going to be able to have 10 to 12 people at a table. And also during ceremonies, you're not going to be able to have all those chairs butted up against each other. There's going to have to be space in between. Think of the news conferences that you have seen on TV, whether it's local government or president on TV, the way that they have the news reporters spaced out. That's how it's going to have to be for ceremonies as well. Now, I was trying to think on my end of things as the entertainer, the person that's bringing the joy and the music and the fun. And on our end, one of the things that immediately jumps out at me is regarding your toasts and speeches, all right? When we pass that microphone around, we'll walk up and we'll introduce, Uncle Bill to come up and say a few words in the form of a toast or a speech, and we hand him the microphone, and then Uncle Bill hands it back, and now we invite the maid of honor or the best man, and we hand her the microphone, and she hands it back. By the time all these toasts and speeches and blessings are done, wow, like sometimes up to 5 or 6 people have passed that microphone back and forth and touched it over and over and over again. So here would be my suggestion for your DJ, whether you're choosing us or any other company, and that would be to put a microphone on a stand and then don't touch it again. The DJ set it up on a stand, and then each person just walks up, speaks into it. When they are done, the DJ can take it back, take it off the stand, wipe it down with an alcohol wipe, and put it away. And that way we're not taking those germs and placing them from microphone to hand to microphone and microphone to hand, on and on and on. And then DJs, remember to wash your hands good after this, right? Now, folks that are having a photo booth, here's something else to think about, and that is how many folks go inside that photo booth and there's a touch screen generally, and you have so many fingers touching that screen over and over and over. But most photo booths that come out with a photo booth attendant. They are generally the ones to help with the props and the hats and the boas and the scarves and all that fun stuff. So maybe just for this time period, while we're all going through this, maybe it should be the photo booth attendant's job to touch the screen. They can very easily ask the guest, would you like me to select black and white or color prints? They touch the screen and then they back out of the photo booth, let people take the pictures so that their fingers are the only one touching that screen over and over again and not having so many hands on. Taking this a step further, we normally disinfect all of the props and the hats and the mustaches, the boas. We normally disinfect all that in between each event. However, that can't really be done in between each guest at your wedding. So maybe during the course of us, getting through this virus together and getting to the end of the season, maybe we should really reconsider even using props that everybody keeps taking and placing from one head to another. Maybe just for this time only, maybe props should not be involved in photo booth pictures. But again, that is totally up to you. And now lastly, and I know that this is going to come down to each bride and groom, but you may want to think about having your DJ or your Master of Ceremonies make periodic announcements to the guests throughout the night, reminding them about hygiene. Right now we're all thinking about the fact, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be washing my hands or sanitizing my hands every little bit. I need to be doing this. I need to be doing that. I need to be social distancing. However, when people get together and they are celebrating, and maybe they've had a drink or two, that's eventually going to become the furthest thing from their mind. So to have the DJ or the Master of Ceremonies come on the mic a few times a night and just remind guests, hey, please don't forget, remember your social distancing, and please don't forget to keep taking care of yourself throughout the night. If you cough into your sleeve or into your inside of your elbow, and remember to keep washing your hands or using some hand sanitizer throughout the night. And I know this sounds like a lot, but it can be done classy, and it can be done with a little bit of humor as well. Nobody wants to dampen the mood of your wedding or be an alarmist to all your guests. We want everybody to have a great time and to be safe while having a great time. I hope some of these ideas will help you out, and if nothing more, maybe get your own ideas, get your own wheels turning to help you think of some things that can be put in place on your wedding day in order to help keep everybody safe and to help everybody have a great time and not have to worry about all this mess. Just keep in mind there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's just around the corner, my friends. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with me. It's always great to have you here. Remember, if you'd like to help out by supporting this podcast, well, leave a few kind words for us on iTunes, Google Play, or any other podcast network, wherever you listen. Also, be sure to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. Each week always brings new ideas, tips, and tricks to help bring the wow factor to your wedding. Again, I'm Steve Moody, owner of Steve Moody's Entertainment Connection, located on Maryland's Eastern Shore. We're the area's most reviewed, most referred, and most awarded wedding DJ service. You can find us on Wedding Wire and The Knot, as well as our website at SteveMoody.com. On Facebook, Steve Moody's Entertainment Connection, and on Instagram, Steve Moody's Wedding DJs. Most importantly, if you have enjoyed our time together, please let your friends know about it. Comment, like, review, and most importantly, share on your favorite social media outlets. Thanks again for hanging out.